We are live. Welcome to the Listen to This Bull live show. My name is Matt Mulholland. That is Remington Huggins. He is the sexier one of the two of us. In case you are listening to this on a podcast, you should know he's at least 3.2 times as sexy as I am. This is the Listen to This Bull live show. This is the show where you get to ask questions live of us as we go because we're doing it live. The benefit of you watching this live is to ask questions. We've got a special guest that has been waiting for almost 3 months to get on the show, Tom Dring with Eagleview. And we're going to talk about the future of Eagleview and all the fun things they're doing with AI and other things that might happen from there. And all we have to do to get started is have me push this button. Tom Dring, how the hell are you?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I think it was about 3.5 months since we've been trying to scheme this thing.
It's been a while. You pulled me to the side and said, "Who are you?" And it was really funny the way you said
that. Well, it was it the Fort Lauderdale at one of my favorite bars, and and I told you, I said.
I was taking advantage of your hospitality.
You were taking advantage of my credit card. Let's just be honest.
That's true. So it makes sense.
Again, I've seen you around. I've seen you at all the events, and I've seen you on online, and Facebook, social media, and then to literally, and I owe you a huge apology, but literally to hear that you live literally almost down the road from me, and I
hear you are in a hotel.
Yeah, and I hate the fact that I'm in Atlanta. Last time, I saw you in Atlanta almost like a few months ago. I'm like,
yeah. So Remington's in Atlanta right now.
Remington, where are you? I'll come over to you and we'll hang out. I'm like, but no. So
come on over.
I'm glad we're able to do this, but I'm sad we can't do this in person.
Well, I got to tell you, to get ready for the show, I went shopping and I got myself a very special beer. It's called the Mean Old Tom. And it is a stout that has been aged in vanilla beans. So, mean old white Tom. Here we go. I hope it's good. If it tastes terrible, I'm going to just say that you don't want to put Old Tom in your mouth.
Right. Well. Anyways, no HR around, right?
Not for this show. All right. So we are wanting to talk about the future of Eagleview.
Yeah.
Eagleview, give us a brief description of what that is for our audience that has been living under a rock.
Oh, God. Yeah. So what Eagleview does is we take some of the highest resolution imagery allowed to civilian contractors, and we essentially disseminate just data, all sorts of data, anything you can think of that you have a picture of and say, hey, I just need some information from that imagery. That's what we do. And we're fortunate enough that we, guys much smarter than me a while back figured out how to create a structure in 3D and measure it very, very, very accurately, literally down to the 16th of an inch. And that's kind of how we started out. And we've been selling data to insurance companies, FEMA, federal government, state, local, roofers. Roofers are my bread and butter. But we gather and collect and sell data to the roofing industry, the solar industry, the utility industry. And now, our latest launches into drones and AI through that way.
Drones. I know that Remington is getting really sick and tired of talking about drones.
For all the viewers out there and listeners, yeah, the real technology stuff is not my bread and butter. Matthew knows that, but he loves it. He's a tech geek, so to speak. But yeah, hey, Matthew, that's how we balance each other out. All right. I'm here to learn today.
Right.
Are
you? Yeah. You're not just going to zone out on me then with drones.
No. So do I get to ask questions of you guys then?
Yeah.
Remington, what is your bread and butter?
My bread and butter is anything that's policy related and negotiations. I think those are my two bread and butters.
All right.
Yeah, policy is an interesting thing. Is there anything in policies that would prevent someone from performing an inspection with a drone then? Remington?
Oh, I don't think there's anything in the policy that would prevent anybody from inspecting a property with a drone. I just can't think of one that would come on top of my head. Now, am I saying that maybe you could punch some holes in somebody's report just from a drone versus a physical inspection? I think that's up for debate, and that could be a whole nother conversation. But yeah, but if you're just getting, if you're flying a drone to get dimensions, unless me or anybody else has anything to combat that is not accurate, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I have definitely poked holes over the years in insurance carriers' investigations when they said they didn't find any damage. And I said, well, you used the drone. You didn't actually get on the roof. And then they just paid for it, which is weird, especially back in the Kespre days when they were doing that kind of stuff. Things have gotten a little bit more sophisticated since then. The AI seems to be a little bit better. The drones are definitely a lot better.
Yeah.
And then you got Eagleview, a juggernaut in the industry for measurements and things, getting into the action and identifying hail or anomalies.
Yeah. And I want to be real crystal clear on that one. Like, listen, Eagleview has always prided itself on being completely unbiased in everything we do. I mean, literally, we want to be Switzerland, for lack of a better word. Sales guy wants that roof as big as humanly possible. The installers want it as, the crews want it as big because they can charge for squares. And, we just don't care how big, how small, how steep. We really just want to be right. So, again, roofers trust us for all their data. The distribution trusts us for data. Insurance carriers trust us for data. So we saw that the next logical step for us was, hey, is something damaged or not? And again, a roofer can go up there with a bull peen hammer and start, whacking the shingles, calling it hail damage. And the insurance carriers don't want any damage up there because they just want to deny it. We don't care. We don't care if there's damage or not. We just want to be right.
You just want them to pay you for the report.
That helps
and
too.
To do that, you have to be right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
By the way, you guys are drinking beer. I'm I got a little water here. Actually, it might be just straight vodka. I'm not telling you, but it could be water.
I think we'll be able to determine that by the end of the episode. See how sloshy he gets.
Yeah.
So what does someone that is dealing with cases involving drones really want to ask someone that was a drone operator? So what would you ask someone like that?
Yeah. Well, sorry. Is this for me or Remington? Sorry.
I don't even care. Remington, what would you ask someone that was a drone operator in a deposition?
How many times they've flown a drone? Where they've flown a drone? Have you flown one through for a asphalt shingle? If it's a TPO roof, I would ask if they've flown on a TPO roof. What have your other findings been? How many times, what percentage of the time do you actually find hail damage versus not hail damage, or wind damage versus not wind damage? Where they're licensed, their experience with flying a drone. I would go through the whole thing. How many pictures they took when they actually flew the drone versus how many pictures they actually put in their report. Why did they leave out pictures? I would go into great who, what, when, why questions. And you actually find out a lot of data asking the who, why, what, whens on every aspect of an inspection, whether it's a drone or a physical inspection.
And Tom, your drones fly themselves, don't they?
Yeah. So, we partnered with Skydio and again, this was a couple of years ago. So again, I'm only privy to what they tell me, but we partnered with Skydio, which is actually, again, I don't like politics and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's one of the only American-made drones, in the country. So we partnered with Skydio. They make, actually I got one right here, but they make this really cool little gizmo. And I'm going to oversimplify it slightly, but you push about 4, 5, 6 buttons on an iPad and the thing literally will take off, fly the structure, and you might have to hit, a couple more buttons on an iPad throughout its process, but it's it's smart enough to navigate in and around and through trees and miss power lines. And you don't fly it. It's hard to explain unless you actually see it, but it literally flies itself over that roof at about 3 feet off the deck. So it's incredibly detail oriented, but you don't fly it.
Does it take its own pictures too?
I'm sorry?
Does it take its own pictures, or do you
Yeah,
have to?
absolutely. So again, Remington said, well, how many pictures do you have? This drone will literally take roughly 10 pictures per square. Incredibly detail oriented. So again, it's just zipping right along, snapping again pictures. It's going to get the overheads and the overviews and from 100 feet up. But when it comes back down, it's taking about 10 pictures per square, and again from about 3 feet off the deck. Incredibly high resolution, incredibly detail oriented. It does not miss much. Again, 30 square roof.
The case, Remington, if the drone takes its own photos, does that lead to a new set of questions for you in a deposition, you think?
I think, yeah, I would have another set of questions. Okay, well, and we're assuming this is for the insurance company, Tom?
Well, so my target audience are roofers.
Okay.
I'm looking to put these things in the hands of roofers, to save their lives, keep them off a roof. I never tell somebody not to get up on a roof, but this can truly dramatically limit the time of somebody's roof. But yeah, I'm targeting actual roofers for these things.
Got it. Yeah, no, it would be a different line of questions, Matt. Like, if it's flying itself, is there a certain pattern that it flies? Do you concentrate on more areas of the roof that's more susceptible to storm damage versus not? Just simple questions. I know it flies itself, but there's got to be some type of programming for it to actually do the flight, right? I'm not a tech guy here, but I'm just assuming. But Tom, no, you're right. It would save lives. It would. And it would save people from injury as well. Especially people that are, man, I tell you what, I am not what I used to be. I'm worried about, going and playing basketball now. So, right. What I'm saying? Like I'm talking about, rolling your ankle and stuff. I know it's going, I see where the roofing industry is going when it comes to AI and these drones. And, I still think there will be situations where there actually needs to be a physical inspection if it need be. But I can see where the application of a drone and the benefits of a drone versus, putting somebody's life at risk every single day, multiple times a day. I could see where that would come into play.
It's the fact that, I talk. So my territory for Eagleview is Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee. And I talk to guys all day, every day. Again, here in Atlanta, I talk to guys who are constantly accused of vandalism, constantly. And it might not, it's not them. It's the other guys who are there first. It's the crew that came yesterday. Well, Mr. Insurance Carrier, we didn't even get up on the roof. We flew the drone. We've got the data. We didn't even need to put boots up there. We couldn't have damaged it.
In fact, the only person that got on the roof was your ladder assist. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Matthew, have you used drones lately or in the past couple of years?
I am the owner of well, I should say my wife is. I'm a pilot, so is my wife, but we own several drones, and I use them from time to time. I use the infrared from a DJI drone for flat roofs and other investigations like that. If we do large properties, then I'm going to have that take care of all the scoping for me. But I don't use a drone for the full investigation by itself. I can use it to supplement only. That's how I feel. I'm not a huge fan of the drone doing the investigation, but I'm one of those guys that's not afraid of heights. And I like to get a lot more detailed in my investigation than just taking a photo. I'm going to be manipulating different parts of the property to see if there's additional damages or ways that I can combat some arguments that I'm likely to get from different kinds of defenses that the insurance company gives us. I even bring like a light panel up on the roof, like a little flat light, and I'll stick it under a shingle to see if light bleeds through any kind of fractures or anything from hail or something along those lines. There's a lot of different things that I can do. A drone is not going to be capable of doing because it's only getting top-down photos. But if I'm having a fight and someone is saying that's not caused by hail, it's wear and tear or something along those lines, having a third party, even if it is an AI, say that those anomalies are likely hail, definitely helps. It doesn't hinder. But I don't know about wind damage because a lot of wind damages are completely hidden. And until drones have an articulating finger, I don't think that they're going to really be taking over the wind damage too much.
We're working on, this is top secret roofing information. We're working on the spatula to get up under there. And it's in development. It'll be out a couple years. So, just don't tell anybody. All right.
I love it when they use that word spatula.
Yeah.
Okay. Making eggs on the roof today.
That's right. Yeah, you can do that in Florida this week.
Yeah, you could. It's freaking hot. Holy cow. I let my lawn go as a result. Didn't want to even go outside. Yeah, so these drones, the Skydios, and I got a lot of comments this week after we put the post out that we were going to have you on, and people were telling me that Skydio has just changed their consumer section. Skydio is no longer going to be supporting consumer drones. So is that going to make a difference for you guys? Or are you guys using the enterprise versions?
Yeah. So again, kind of some questions above my pay grade. I will tell you that I know we have had a longstanding relationship with Skydio, but again, this has been in development for a number of years. My understanding is that these are enterprise level drones. So again, I know the leadership of Eagleview well enough to know that we would be protected from anything like that. So I don't, that's news to me. Thanks for ambushing me with that one, Matt. Really appreciate that one. But I would imagine that Eagleview and Skydio have a good enough relationship that wouldn't affect us too bad.
Yeah. But they specified in their press release that they were going to focus on the enterprise drone specifically. So if that's what that is, then I think you guys are clear. I would anticipate the prices go up in the next year, but that's your problem.
Well, listen, I'm not a huge fan of politics, but again, in Florida, you know this, Governor DeSantis said something along the lines that if it's a state agency, they can no longer use foreign-made drones, and so I think that went out about 3 months ago. So again, Skydio may have been the big winner on that move as well. So yeah, I mean, again, I know we get these things by the truckload, and they go out just as fast as we get them in. And actually, sometimes we'll have a 2-week, 3-week waiting period to get these things out because we get them out the door so fast. But I'm pretty sure I trust the leadership at Eagleview that they'll take care of us.
All right, I got a few questions from the audience. I'm going to pop up.
The answer is no. Just no. No. That's it. First answer is no. Second answer is possibly. The third answer is going to be beer. That's Johnny Carson.
No, maybe so. Give me a beer. I'm taking all the notes in the world. I got it. I love it.
It's almost like just a pause. Give me a beer, and I might answer, but then you never said you would. Matt Danskin, what are the vulnerabilities and shortcomings to drone inspections?
Yeah. Whether it's, and this is the truth, whether it's Eagleview, or anything else. I mean, listen, I've been on enough roofs. I started my roofing career in Brockton, Massachusetts as the kid who cleaned up the ground, but you can't tell what the deck is like without getting up, walking on it. You can't find the squishy spots. And again, there's fat, there's things like Matt, like you said, wind damage is tactile. I mean, you're never gonna be able to touch it and feel it. I mean, there's always
the damage is hidden under the shingle above it.
Yeah.
You're not going to always see a crease. It might
Right.
be torn up off the nail and the tears are invisible.
Right. And again, I've been on enough roofs, listen, it's not going to get into like the flashing details of, hey, if there's a hole in a flashing detail, I mean, just, hey, where is it leaking in the skylight? There's things along those natures. Like I guess the true fine detail of an inspection, whether it's mechanical or human error, it's just never going to get, at least not in the near future. Good question though. Appreciate that one.
When I was a roofer, in my contract, in the small language at the end, it said that if you have a roof window, remember that there are going to be workers on your roof. So if the skylight is above a bathroom, please schedule your bathing times accordingly, or something along those lines. Now insurance companies are using drones during their flyby inspections without any notice. And I wonder if there's going to be some privacy laws broken because they're able to see into a skylight like that where someone's nudity may become a problem.
Again, don't quote me on this one, but I think here in Georgia, they passed a law. And again, I'm shooting from the hip on this one, that drones can only be flown within the property line of the structure that is being flown, if that makes sense. So people are starting to address those privacy issues, those privacy concerns. And I think again, personally speaking, yeah, I don't know that I'd want my neighbor flying a drone and looking at me in my pool. I mean, not that there's much to look at when you're looking at me in my pool, but no, I think we get used to giving up our privacy and our cell phone. I mean, good grief. Apple's listening to us now from my phone sitting next to me on the desk, but I think we do give up some privacy, and I think it's time to take some of it back. Little tangent there. Sorry.
I think it'd be interesting.
Let's just, insurance companies, if they're doing that, just use some common sense. Like if you're doing an inspection, send an email, have a phone call with the policyholder. Guys, I'll be out there. I'll be flying a drone between 1 and 5. Don't be in your birthday suit in the backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody just needs to use some common sense.
Unless the homeowner wants to be in their birthday suit in the backyard.
Maybe that forces the carrier to delete the photos in their system. Maybe there's a strategy behind it. I don't know.
Let's just use some common sense when we do that stuff.
Yeah. It just need to provide notice. April Martinez asks, is anyone afraid of the jobs disappearing if it continues to move in that direction, where drones are just doing a lot of the jobs for us? Are you afraid of jobs disappearing, Tom?
No, no. And here's why. I mean, listen, the people, that's a good one. Seriously. Wow. April. Yeah. Thanks for that ambush. No, see, like that's a question I've never been asked. That's a really
only worried about
question.
His job disappearing.
No, because listen, you're still going to need a pilot, someone to actually go out and fly the gizmo. So there's that. You're still going to need someone to look over the data, the deliverable. I think jobs may change a little bit. I think you may get people, listen, I got clients all over the place who are saying, hey, to their sales guys, hey, here's a drone, go fly it instead of climb it. I've also got other clients who are just saying, hey, I'm hiring a pilot to go fly these 10 houses in a day. So I think I think jobs might change a little bit. I don't think they're going to get eliminated.
Change. Yeah, I agree. AI is scary. It's scary as hell. Everything's changing so rapidly. Nobody really knows what the market's going to be like, the job market. I got kids that are still in high school and they don't know what the hell is going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen to them. It freaks me out as a parent, as an adult, as someone that has responsibility to bring in a certain amount of money. I have no clue. Someone could take over all the education that I do at any given time. But I think that no matter what changes or what AI is capable of doing, there's going to be jobs that are created at the same time as destroyed along with that. It's just going to be changed. Every time we've had an industrial revolution, there has been some jobs that have been deleted and other jobs become more prominent, or a new job exists. We're innovators, us humans. I think we'll figure it out.
I'm not a huge fan of it. And again, this is a Tom Dring. It's a Tom Dring stance. It's not an Eagleview stance. It's not anything. I'm not a huge fan of the chat GP. I don't even whatever they are. Because I've tried it a couple of times and it just doesn't seem like my voice. But I think AI in machine learning can be useful in roofing technology. Again, for anomaly detection, for mold growth detection, for identifying just identifying other data points.
Are you using AI for mold growth detection?
Did I say that?
Yeah. Is that something you weren't supposed to say?
No, listen, it's a concept that's been kicked around.
That would be a really cool thing.
It's an idea that's been listen, okay. All right, we're going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but you think about if Eagleview flies, dude, I'm going to use some very round general numbers here. If Eagleview flies North America, or I don't know, 98% of the North American population at least once a year, some number like that, and we're taking, we have hundreds, if not thousands of images in a library just on the north side of your house. I'm not saying top down, the north side. We may have hundreds, if not thousands of images of the north side of your house for the last 10 years. Just the north side. And as time has progressed, the resolution of those cameras has just gotten scary. By the way, Matt, you got a mole back here you may want to look at. I was looking at some imagery of your house, and you got a mole back there. You just may want to go to the dermatologist, have them look at it. But what can we start to tell over time based on the higher the resolution the imagery gets? Tree growth. We've measured tree growth for years. So those high tension power lines that crisscross the country, we can fly that and tell it how close the trees are getting to the power lines. So mold.
You can even use drones now to observe the health of foliage compared to the area around it to see what kind of moisture absorption an area of dirt is able to get. Using interesting, just observable light. It's really amazing what they can do with some of these things by doing some of these observations. But it is new. It's different. So
we've already, and this news is I think maybe 42, maybe 72 hours old. We've already reflown. Forgive me, I can't pronounce the name, but Maui. The town in Maui that unfortunately has burned down. We've already reflown that. Devastating, scary, devastating. So the level of data that we're continuing to produce is just staggering.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to expand that one more place into drones.
Well, that's cool. Drones are the future of war too.
I thought the children were our future. Didn't Michael Jackson say that?
That just doesn't make sense. They're not going to be children at some point. Lisa says that as far as drones goes, that identifies far more damage than the human eyes for a top-down view. So she's able to find hail, creasing, impact, and identify vertical wind uplift due to shadow identification using her drone. Shadow identification. I don't know. I'd want to have to verify that one. That one sounds a little bit odd. And that's cool. So Troy from YouTube is asking, can your Eagleview Skydio give roof measurements if the subject property's measurements are available through normal Eagleview channels?
Hey, real quick, Matt, I was trying to think about on that last question about it affecting, jobs and everything else. What's that?
Let me pull it back up.
And I was thinking, and look, no one wants to affect jobs, right? But at the same time, like technology is just, it's evolution of technology. It's happening every month and we have to somewhat get over it. I'm just being honest, right? Like, Publix has the automatic scanners now you go through, like that maybe is taking jobs away, give or take. But I was trying to think about, all right, so if a roofer, because that's Tom's main client, he concentrates on roofers. If a roofer's going out to a property and doing an inspection, a roofer still got to go out to the property and do the inspection with a drone, right? I mean, where is the piece that takes somebody out of the puzzle? I guess I couldn't think of one. And in fact, it might even, because you got to have a roofer that goes out. Let's just say they fly the drone, inspect from that drone image. They're coming up and concluding what's the best way to make the proper repairs to the damages that they see through the drone. I just don't see where it necessarily takes somebody out of the process of inspecting a roof, other than somebody getting up there and then physically inspecting it. And also, I think because of drones, it's going to make physical inspections, the amount is going to be reduced, to where if somebody, let's just say a claim gets to me because it was denied or underpaid, I'm going to need that guy go out and actually do a physical inspection potentially. And they might even be getting more compensation because they're having to do that extra step. So I don't know. I'm just thinking about how it would take away from jobs, other than people climbing the roofs. They're actually flying a drone, but maybe I'm off.
I don't. So a little anecdote. I was up in Nashville a number of months ago, or I'm going to call it springtime. And there's a roofer up there, and boy, he just didn't believe. He didn't believe. So I made him a bet. I said, I'm going to fly the house. You pick the house, I'll fly it, and we'll be done with it. And I said, and then you climb the roof, and we'll have a comparison who has more damage. And I said, you can even bring as many people as you want. And he probably had 6 or 7 people climbing around a pretty steep roof. And, and they're chalking it up and marking it up and blah, 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 blah. And, I don't know, he found 75, 80 and, anomalies, things that he wanted to claim as damage. And, I said, I tell you what, if my report finds more damage, you have to take a drone. If you find more damage, I'll buy you a steak dinner any place you want. So we ended up comparing notes, and I found 7 times more damage than he did. So he took a drone.
A lot more.
The issue was, just as human beings, it's like you get, and I don't know if there's a term for it, but I call it visual fatigue. You're looking at a generally a field of shingles, grays or browns and blacks and tans, and you kind of just space out after a while. You get tired of looking at the same thing over and over again. Where again, AI doesn't.
Our minds might wander. Someone might make a phone call, and so we skip over things. I teach squirrel protocol on roofs because I'm like that, and I'm going to get distracted. So I have to stay on a very strict regimen on how I perform inspections to prevent those distractions. Squirrel protocol is a real thing that I actually do teach.
Interesting.
So, there's a lot to be said for that. The AI isn't going to get fatigued. That's a good point. It will change things, though. Roofers can't just be roofers anymore. If they are the ones that are flying these drones, they also have to become Part 107 drone pilots. So, but it's not hard to get that.
Well, wow, I want to be like, we're live, and this is going to be recorded for posterity's sake forever and ever and ever and ever. So I'm going to be really delicate here. I would highly recommend you reading up under the laws, rules, and regulations about what a 107 pilot certified means, whether you're flying these things for commercial purposes, for personal purposes. yeah, I think on this, to be on the safe side, yes, you should be a certified 107 pilot. I'm just gonna.
I got you covered, Tom. This is from FAA. Says recreational flying rules. Note that non-recreational drone flying includes things like taking photos to help sell a property or service, roof inspections, or taking photos of a high school football game for the school's website. Goodwill can also be considered non-recreational. This would include things like volunteering to use your drone to survey coastlines on behalf of a nonprofit organization. Basically, what the FAA says is if you are not doing it for pure fun and enjoyment, so you have to have a license.
So now I would argue that out there is some roofer that's like, I love doing this, you know.
But that's got to be the only reason he's out there is just because he's enjoying himself. That's
you
do have to have a license. It is super easy to get.
Well,
I studied for less than 1 hour. I passed the exam.
I'm telling you with one particular finger under the table that you're number one, because I studied for 40 hours. And it is not easy. It's incredibly difficult.
It's not difficult. They give you this chart, a map, and it's got a legend, and you could figure out the questions based on the legend. Anyway, if you have any kind of experience, maybe it takes you more than 1 hour of studying in general, but it's not difficult to get, and you should get it.
Yes.
And then you don't have any questions. There's no problems. The drones nowadays do have to be able to broadcast a signal so that people can pick it up. So they're setting things up now to be able to ticket people in the future.
Yeah.
So there's prep courses out there. My wife has given us some information. Take a 107 prep course if you need to. They're cheap as hell.
We used Drone Pilot Ground School, which I thought which for me personally, I thought it was a phenomenal course. It breaks everything down into 10, 15-minute nuggets. And the practice quizzes, again, that helped me out immensely. It's a sheer amount of information that you don't know that you didn't need to know until you need to know it. It's just staggering, but it's not difficult. It's just different information than what we're used to.
All right, well, let's take a moment real quick to talk about our sponsors while I'm thinking about it. If you guys are watching this show and getting a lot of enjoyment out of it, it's because we have sponsors that we can even do this kind of thing. Claim Titan is a CRM that is designed specifically for public adjusters. If you guys haven't looked into Claim Titan, you should, claimtitan.com. I've talked to several people that have gotten into it in the last couple of weeks, and they are amazed. And to be honest, this guy is doing everything he can to implement any ideas that you guys have now. So jump in there. He's implemented every idea that I've had. Building Experts Institute, something that I am one of the founders of and the dean of. That is the online training school. Buildingexperts.institute is the website. Right now, you can capture the Defeating Unethical Engineer Tactics class, and Hail Damage Identification to Asphalt Shingle Roofs is coming out in just a week and a half. Then we have the American Policyholder Association. They are a group of fraud fighters that are fighting insurance fraud committed by insurance carriers. And they have a lot in the news lately where the Congress is talking to Doug Quinn on the stand and all these kind of things. It's really great. Take a look. There's so much to show you about the American Policyholder Association. I am a board advisor for them as well. Huggins Law Firm. Remington, you want to talk about Huggins Law real quick?
Huggins Law Firm. We specialize in property insurance claims. That's a shocker, right? No, for real. Hey, we like helping any policyholder out. We work with public adjusters and contractors on a daily basis. If the claim is underpaid or denied, we're here to help.
You can't get any sexier than Huggins Law. It's just impossible. Look at his face. So that's the guy. Hook Agency is a marketing firm for roofing companies. If you are a roofer listening to this and you need some help with your marketing, Tim Brown of the Hook Agency is ready to help you out, and they do a really good job. I love Tim. He's a great guy. All right, that's enough of that. Back to our regularly scheduled program. We'll put this question up that we jumped away from earlier. Can the Eagleview Skydio give roof measurements if the subject property's measurements are not available through normal channels?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you one of the answers is going to be yes.
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 End of answer.
No. So yeah, listen, there are places in North America, Eagleview just doesn't have coverage because, the population density, in the middle, I'm sure there's some place out in Mississippi or Montana, the state of Eagleview just doesn't have the coverage. You can literally, there's a button in the iPad. You can say, yeah, give me the measurements. Drone shoots up, flies up, takes about a half dozen pictures, comes screeching back down. And we take that imagery as if it was out of our planes and we'll disseminate roof measurements for you. Yeah.
All right. Out of curiosity, and I don't know if I've asked this of the other drone guys. I probably should, just out of fairness, but does Eagleview get copies of the photos that are created, and do they keep track of those? Do they have a database of all the photos?
I'm assuming no. I'm just walking this through my head. The quick answer is yeah. I mean, we have to. We do get copies of the imagery because we have to sew together a 3-dimensional model of the structure with the photos taken, creating a heat map of damage on the structure. So yes, we do have access to the imagery. My gut is that it's owned by the roofer, not Eagleview, because quick answer is I don't know. Eagleview's stance on data and sharing information is we don't do it. We never have. So my gut's telling me we don't do much with it other than just sewing together a 3-dimensional model, creating a heat map of the structure. But yeah, we have to take it at some point.
I'm wondering if I reached out to Eagleview knowing that an Eagleview inspection was done, and if I reached out to you trying to get copies of those photos because I lost them, or I'm trying to see if I can get copies of the photos that were taken at that address for the policyholder because they want copies of it, and it was the carrier's guy that used it. I don't know if insurance carriers use it. I do like the idea of preservation of evidence involved, all that fun stuff. So,
I mean, Matt, how about this? If you had a drone, you flew your house, and for some reason you wanted access to the imagery down the road, I'm sure we could get it to you. Now that I'm thinking, you'd have access to it directly from the Eagleview Assess portal anyways, so you'd have access to it online.
Okay.
Well, but if I'm just saying, if a roofer flies your house and you call us up and say, hey, Bob the roofer flew my house, can I have access to the imagery? We'd be like, no.
What if the homeowner asked for it?
No, it's Bob's data. It's the roofer's data. It's not. Yep.
So an insurance company couldn't ask for it then either.
Nope. We don't. Right. Again, just like we don't tell the insurance companies what roofers are doing. Yeah. We don't tell roofers what each other is doing. We don't tell anybody anything.
Christian Mendez asked, do you have to pay for each report? Do you have to purchase the drone? And do you have to pay for the reports after you purchase the drone?
I'm going to ask where Christian Mendez is from.
Chicago.
All right, so he's not my guy, so he can't buy me a beer. See, I knew I'd loop beer into this somehow.
Are you saying that there is a different there's a different program for different parts of the country or
no? So listen, we've got 2 pricing tiers. One is literally an all-you-can-eat, and again, I'm going to use some very round numbers. You can lease the drone. Again, to answer one question, we don't sell the drone. It's only a software license. So we actually give you the hardware and 4 batteries, controller, iPad, cables, cords, everything. $2,000 a month. You can fly as many structures as you want. Actually, you can fly as many single-family residents with asphalt roofs as you want.
He says he's in Atlanta, by the way.
You're my guy. We'll trade drone for beer.
I want that deal. That sounds great. But I'll send you an old Tom.
But so there's an all you can eat, but where basically you get the anomaly detection report, and you get the measurement reports. And then, so you're getting both reports with the drone. And again, because it's a software license, anything happens to the drone or the batteries or controller, you send it back to us and we send you a new one. Or there is a month-to-month pay-as-you-go option where you're paying for that detect report and you're paying for the Eagleview measurement reports. Most of the people I deal with in the Southeast opt for the all-you-can-eat option, simply because it averages out to be about 20 roofs a month. If you're going to fly more than 20 roofs a month, the unlimited plan is kind of the break even for you guys.
I used to get Eagleviews at $45 a pop for the premiums.
Yep.
So, but if I was doing, anywhere between 150 to 250 a month, like I was, the all you can eat would have been a spectacular deal for me.
Yeah, I mean, again, I got a guy here in town. I got a guy here in Atlanta that's flying 5-6 a week, and so I give him the detect report and the Eagleview reports, the measurement reports, and hell, I actually think he flew 10 over the weekend. So it does work out. Again, because we can fly all year round. If somebody was up in Chicago and it's windy and gets cold and snow and you're locked in, the all you can eat might not be the best option for you. But it really is business case by business case.
This is my favorite question from the audience. Ted Schroeder asks, can Eagleview costs be charged to the insurance carrier from a public insurance adjuster, since their measurements are becoming more and more the accepted and the standard in roofing dimensions?
Can Eagleview costs be charged to the insurance carrier from the PA?
I just want to add this. I'll let Tom answer the question, but there are actually some policies where it allows for payment for certain type of inspections. So I think maybe you could fit that under that endorsement or policy provision if it's costs incurred, by the public adjuster who's representing or advocating for the homeowner.
I think that's the hard part, though, is that if it is a public insurance adjuster, you might not. So it needs to be a cost to the insured, not to the public adjuster, because public adjusters' fees often aren't covered by the policies, at least in modern policies. They'll write that out. They'll say that the costs associated with presenting the loss information are recoverable, except for the use of a public insurance adjuster, specifically public insurance adjusters or plaintiff property attorneys or something along those lines. So you got to be careful with it being a cost of the public adjusters. If it is a cost that is owed to the public adjuster from the policyholder as an expense, though, then it's actually an incurred cost to the policyholder, not part of the public adjuster's fee. So as long as it is an extra expense that you are charging the policyholder for outside of your fees, then generally speaking, you're going to be taken care of on an insurance policy side. That's my two.
Matt, I'm not an Xactimate guy. I know there's this thing out there and it exists and we integrate and whatever. But I've been told anecdotally, like literally like 100%, but there is a quote unquote technology line item that many of my customers, many of my clients will use, and they'll put in the cost of the Eagleview report into the Xactimate.
Technology, huh? I'm not a guru either on Xactimate. Remington, right. Do you know that one?
I don't think I've seen a technology line item in Xactimate estimate.
Okay.
I'm not look, but again, it's not like I'm looking forward every step of the way, but I look at Xactimates many a day. I'm not saying it's not there.
Okay.
It might, but
I was going to say, if it is there, Ted, just slide that $40 report in there, man.
If you're using Xactimate and you are the one that is incurring that expense, it makes sense. If you're the public insurance adjuster, you're not writing the estimate or something, or if you're just compiling estimates for a proof of loss, It doesn't have to be on a roofer's Xactimate estimate or a bid item of any kind. It can be a separated invoice that is also attached and just added into the amount of loss. So it doesn't have to be on the Xactimate, but you could also use a bid item. And that's something that I've done in the past for a lot of the expenses for my company. It's just using a bid item. But
Hey,
usually
also, just
I'll have an
real
invoice
quick,
separated for that.
Hey, there are sometimes provisions in the policy where if a policy holder hires an engineer to inspect, where that is to be recouped as well. I just want to add that.
There definitely there are policies. I read one today where the language specifically was that they would not cover any costs for you to prove the loss, but they would cover any costs required to prove the amount of loss. So the existence of coverage wasn't something that they would cover your costs of, but any costs associated with proving the amount of loss was covered, except for public insurance adjusters and attorney's fees. They even had an exclusion for punitive damages in that policy. You ever seen that, Remington? Punitive, South Carolina.
Yeah. Good luck.
It's weird. I think it was tied specifically to liability stuff that I'd probably never do. All right. Will Eagleview. This is from Lisa Cimaroli. That it's an S sound. Will Eagleview be investing in infrared in the future to identify leaks? That face that he's giving is obviously.
Well,
that looks like a beer answer.
Listen, all right. This is one of those things. This is one of those things that I personally have been asking for about 5 years, and I'm like, again, I'm wholeheartedly, I'm just a dumb sales guy. All right, it's like just put it on the plane. Just put an infrared camera on the plane. How hard could it be? I mean, we're Eagleview, for crying out loud. It should be simple. Apparently, it's incredibly difficult.
You can put them on the drones, though.
So the quick answer is, listen, Skydio actually has an infrared drone. It's a separate unit. So, I mean, it's literally a separate device. It's something that's been discussed for us to talk about next year. It's kind of one of those things we've discussed it. We know it's a wanted item. Again, we've got people who are asking us to fly, the city of Nashville, and to get them infrared data on heat loss, water, water penetration, stuff like that. We know it's a desired product. Again, so far above my pay grade and discussion that, I'd love to see it. I'd love to be able to offer it and say, hey, look at all the roofs, look at all the houses in that neighborhood that are under insulated, and be able to sell that data. And hey, look at those flat roofs over there, and you can see the difference in heat and all the water in that roof. I think that'd be pretty spectacular for us. That'd be a game changer for the roofing industry.
Look over there. That guy's peeing right now. There's a lot of information you can get from infrared, but it does require that you have someone that can interpret the data, because it's really just temperature differentials. So unless an AI is trained specifically on infrared image details, which would still need to have someone that is certified in infrared to be able to identify what's going on. There's a lot of issues with reflectivity and other things that can cause some issues. There has to be a specific time of day that you fly. Generally, has to be a very clear sky. There's all kinds of variables that you can't really use on a regular basis. So you have to be very purposeful when you're doing infrared.
My understanding is that even if you have ponding water, I'm looking out the window at the gas station below my hotel room. Even if you have ponding water, the roof itself might be tight as a drum, but if you got ponding water, that's still that's going to throw off the infrared and not be a true read on whether you've got actual leakage or not. So I'd love to have a product like that, though. I think that'd be, again, another game changer for the industry.
I think so.
And Lisa, when we do get infrared drones, you'll be the first person I call. How about that? I'll make you that deal.
Do you remember what their name was?
I do. Yep. Lisa Cimaroli.
Oh, I was really hoping you'd mess it up.
No, she's one of the best. She's one of the best out there.
So Jeremy White wants squirrel protocol training. And Matt Danskin says that Jeremy White is now going to the Building Experts Institute to get just that. And you can get squirrel protocol training there. Okay, well, we need to start wrapping things up. Is there anything that you want to talk about that Eagleview is doing that we didn't mention in today's episode?
Just how long do I have? Another hour or two?
We got about 4 minutes and 31.
Okay. Integrations into the CRMs. Reports can be ordered directly in, Xactimate, dropping the sketch and the data right into Xactimate, Job Nimbus, Acculinks, Job Progress. Our reports can be ordered directly in there.
What happens if the drone gets damaged?
As long as the drone is in autonomous mode, meaning hands off, drone, if something happens, you send it back, we send it new. And actually, Matt, I was flying mine around my house yesterday because mine was almost attacked by a hawk. Hawk almost took off with it, which was kind of funny. But
that would be amazing.
I would have felt bad for the hawk because he would have gotten he would have gotten the surprise. But
he would have had scars like a manatee.
Yeah, his little claws and talons. But yeah, listen, and it's happened once or twice that some freak of wind gust knocks a branch into the rotor, comes crashing down. You send it back, we send a new one. Battery craps out on you, we send it back, we send a new one.
Okay. Lisa says that happened to her, and they replaced it within days. That's pretty cool.
There you have it.
Click this one. Contact for those who want drone. Yeah, give us your contact information.
All right. Now, I'm going to give my contact information. I know we got like 2 minutes left on one condition. Don't text me or call me tonight because I'm going to get a beer after this. And if I have too many beers, people start texting me like 8 o'clock. I'm like 2 or 3 beers deep. Deals are going to be amazing. But
he's very vulnerable at negotiating after 3 beers.
Yeah. But
that's the time to call him.
But listen, the easiest way, my email address is Tom, it's TOM .dring, D as in David, RING at eagleview.com. Tom.dring at eagleview.com. Let me know where you're from, because if you're from like say California or Michigan, or we have different reps that cover different territories. And I will get you in touch with your right guy. But I'm the Southeast guy, and the guy from Atlanta will trade drone for beer.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. So if everybody calls you at 8 o'clock in the evenings, and anyone
that's why I gave my email address. I'm putting do not disturb on it.
I'll email. Yeah, that's true. Damn. I've been drinking too much. I didn't even put together that there's a difference between email and phone number there for a second. That's just dumb.
Matt, next time I'm coming down your way, I'll fly your house for you. I'll trade you a flight for a beer. How about that?
Yeah. I'll take you up on that. Let's do it. Jeremy says he's honored to be a part of Lisa's group. We're also greatly appreciative of Titans in the industry giving us their time and energy, like Claim Titan. That's what he meant, clearly. Wink to our sponsor. All right, Tom, I really appreciate you being on. If you guys have any questions, reach out to Tom. He knows his shit about Eagleview. So if you guys are using Eagleview actually, and you have any comments or suggestions or anything like that, or if you had a great experience, or even if you haven't, put it in the comments so that people can benefit from your experience on things. All right. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Thank you both very much. Thank you guys. Thank you for all the